On a Cup of Joe this season, and I suppose in the coming year or two, we are really going to try to focus on eat local, buy local, cook local, made local. We're going to be stressing that theme on Cup of Joe over the next few months into next year. I have one of my good buddies, Omardath Maharaj. He is an agricultural economist. I'm sure you've seen him across social media as well as on our local media platforms here in TNT. And his wife has a bit of a creative side that I hope he knew before, but they are the ones responsible for what is called Tasty Artsy Concepts. And amazingly, I am understanding that Gaytree Maharaj is making her own cheese and incorporating it with all sorts of wonderful stuff. Guys, thank you very much for being here. Welcome.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I'm seeing this is a log of cheese.
Yes.
So explain this whole concept of what you do.
This is jamun wrapped goat cheese.
So it's goat cheese.
Goat cheese.
And for those city boys and city girls, what is jamun?
Jamun is those black berries that you would see growing all along the highways of Trinidad.
Right.
So we fortunately have one tree on our road.
Right.
So I picked those berries and I made a compote, just
So
like
it's a local berry almost?
it's a local berry
Yeah.
that has the same almost flavor as blueberries.
Serious?
Yes. So when I realized that, I took that opportunity and I turned it into a compote, just like you would do a blueberry compote. And I wrapped it just like you would wrap the goat cheese in blueberry, and it tastes the same.
Yeah. You make the goat cheese from scratch as well?
From scratch.
Serious?
From goat milk, yes.
Serious? You have
Yes.
goats?
No, we don't.
But you get the goat milk?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Fortunately, we're able to get goat milk.
Right.
It's a bit costly, but it is so worth it. The flavors that you get from goat cheese, it is so amazing, unlike any other cheese that you could eat.
Yeah.
And it is similar to cheesecake.
Yeah, it has that texture.
It has that.
I have become a fan of goat cheese.
Right.
The first time I tasted it, I said, but I've become a fan of goat cheese. So making your own cheese right here locally, that is something, Omardath, you must be bubbling with pride.
I would always like to champion any eat local product or locally made product. The imported cheeses, of course, there are a lot of types of cheeses.
Yeah.
And recently, maybe about 2 weeks ago, you would have heard the uproar from farmers on something just parallel when they spoke about the importation of duck meat from Suriname. And that struck a chord with me because if you look at the statistics, according to UN Comtrade statistics, we actually imported over the last 5 years or so just about $969 million in what you call gallus domesticus, which is ducks, geese, turkeys, and so on. But strange, if you look at the same period statistics for cheeses, Trinidad and Tobago would have imported $1.25 billion in cheese and curd for that period.
Wow.
So that's different types of cheeses and different forms. They have the powdered, different forms of cheese.
Wow.
Very importantly, what volume of cheese do we produce in this country?
So you're saying, I don't know, how much cheese is made in Trinidad here?
That's a very valid question, but before we reach to that, we have to look at the consumption of cheeses. Over the period 2011-2015, according to UN Comtrade statistics, we would have imported about $1.25 billion in cheese and curd of varying forms and types, different types of cheeses, of course. The culinary world would know about it, and the average household as well, because in a lot of our meals for breakfast, you have omelets, you have simple bread and cheese, cheese paste, all these different forms. They put it in pies and so on for lunch, and the fancy pasta dinners and all these things. You know, the Trinidad appetite, we really taste the world here. But if you look at that market size, $1.2 billion in just about 4 to 5 years, and you look at what is the production of local cheese, that's a big opportunity that exists. So let's move past the challenges and talk about solutions and opportunities in the food industry. So we have gone one step, of course, and in producing the cheese, of course, we can identify opportunities for strengthening the local agriculture sector. The yield from the milks. We've tried different sources of milk, both to make ricotta cheese, of course, that comes from the dairy cattle. And what the focus on this platter here is the goat cheese.
Right.
Given the sources, the varying sources of milk, we've found that the yield is very important. And you as an entrepreneur, if you want to try this either commercially or in a restaurant setting, if you're a chef, of course, you'd want that when you invest in inputs, you have maximum output or yield to transform into a meal and so on. And that's where the feasibility and the economics is.
All right.
two quick things that we identified here. One is the breeds of the cattle. We found that the genetic material available to the farming community fluctuates, and there's opportunity for intervention to make sure farmers have productive livestock so that we can service the local food industry, one. And two is forage, what we feed the animals. I think there's a big gap in understanding that different types of forages impact the animal's body, just as we would consume different things that have different effects on our body. So with all of that education in mind, we've gone ahead, Tasty Artsy Concepts, and created some products here that is available. And certainly Gaytree will tell you more in terms of texture and taste and so on. So
how would this compare to what the international goat cheese that is on the market now?
It tastes exactly the same.
Exactly the same?
Yes, it does.
Should I testify?
You should,
Yeah,
yes.
I shouldn't. Yeah, I think I should be the judge of that. But I mean, this is fantastic that you.
So this is the goat cheese just sliced, and this is the goat cheese mixed like a spread. So you can have it just like you would have cheese with your toast.
Right.
You can have it as a spread.
So this here is literally the raw goat cheese sliced.
Just sliced.
On the cracker.
very important here, both of these forms have no preservatives.
No
And they are 100% local. So when we import cheese from New Zealand or somewhere halfway around the world, notice those things stand in the fridge, maybe for a few years down the line. And they are preserved, of course. And our children consume this. We as adults consume it, of course, on a daily basis.
You're tasting the freshness in the cheese.
Yes.
And I think that obviously is truly fresh.
The beauty of it,
goat
of course,
milk.
it tastes
Yeah.
just like the solid milk.
Yeah,
Like eating a cloud, so to speak.
So you're tasting the freshness of the goat milk.
Right, and we can incorporate these, of course, in daily meals. The spreads, of course, go into sandwiches and so on that you feed your children and family. And different forms, as we said earlier, in terms of pies and making meals and salads.
Sprinkle it on your salad. Of course, it is very healthy as compared to the regular cheese that we eat.
Right. And that's because of the process that you use to make the cheese?
Well, the goat milk itself is
Right.
very healthy.
Right.
And we are not boiling the milk to take away from any of the nutrients. It is barely brought to a boil.
Right. So I'm seeing pastels, and you know it's coming to
Yes.
that time of the year. This is a meat pastel?
No. Well, Tasty
not?
Artsy Concepts is a vegetarian venture because I am vegetarian.
Oh, you're
from
vegetarian.
birth. All eggless
Right.
and vegetarian.
Right.
So, being that the vegetarian world is so limited
Yeah.
that I have taken it upon myself to create recipes that I love and my children love. I test it on my family,
Right.
you know,
In a good way.
In a good way.
Omardath, yeah.
So this pastel is fresh ricotta, jalapenos, and local mushrooms.
We'll add here that that's a signature of Tasty
That is
Artsy
a
Concept, of
signature
course.
pastel.
The filling, well, the cornmeal, we cannot get away from the imports in terms of that.
Right,
You know,
right.
certainly we could use the local corns and so on, but the filling, of course, is 100% local.
Go that again? What is
It
it?
is
What?
ricotta cheese.
Right, that you
fresh
made as well.
ricotta cheese, jalapenos, and local mushrooms. Have you ever tasted anything like that?
I think you just want to say giant leap from the soya.
They
Giant
normally
leap
let
from
me
the
take
soya.
one bite, right? But I have to take two. Yeah, take two. I always say there are certain marriages of food
Yes.
that you don't toy with. And pastel is one of those for me.
Right.
But for me, and I'm not a vegetarian,
Right.
pastel is with mincemeat. You know, you hear chicken pastel and you hear pastel is with meat. But that actually marries well. The
Yes, it
cheese,
does.
I don't know if it's the mushrooms that bring out a little
flavor.
the flavor that marries
The
well.
jalapenos give it a nice kick.
Yeah, fantastic, guys. So, where can Tasty Arts Concepts be found?
Well, we have
And
a
if
Facebook
somebody
page.
wants to order the cheese and so on.
We have a Facebook page with the same name, Tasty Artsy Concepts.
Right.
So you can message us, you can call us.
Right.
We do deliveries as well. You know,
Right.
so we do fresh meals. So you have to order.
Right,
It's not made and kept.
right. So,
So-
it's
Keeping
fresh.
in
Yeah,
mind,
that's
of
in
course,
mind.
is a small local foodie startup.
Right.
And we, other than the traditional things, of course, that any food startup would do, we focus on incorporating a lot of the local things. So this is our effort to walk the talk, as we say.
Right.
We spend a lot of time talking about import substitution. And a lot of these conversations end there. We suggest import substitution as a way, looking at the food import bill, and that'll certainly climb, given the exchange rate pressure and so on. Trinidad and Tobago will be paying more for all these fancy foods, and we want to maintain our tastes and preferences, of course.
Yeah.
But certainly to maintain that, I think we'll look at the feasibility as a country altogether.
Yeah.
So we are going one step further.
We're going to continue this Eat Local talk as we go along with the season. But I want to thank Omardath and Gaytree for dropping by this morning on the show. We took a little break from Music Mondays, and just check out Tasty Artsy Concepts. That's TASTY ARTSI. They're on Facebook. Place your orders for your cheese. It's good. So you do goat as well as ricotta.
I do goat cheese, ricotta cheese, and paneer.
And paneer as well.
Yes.
And paneer as well. All right, we take a short break, folks, because Music Mondays continues right here on A Cup of Joe.